Oh, thank you for tuning in to another edition of Outside the Shop with me, your host, Daryl D. Lane, as always, where I get to talk about everything that I normally don't get to talk about on my regular sports podcast, Barbershop Sports Talk, which you guys can all find on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, or whichever podcasting app or platform you may be used to listen to your podcasts. The podcast that I released today on Facebook and Twitter, you guys can find that out on all the platforms I just named. Me and Kenny Sim, we do our own mock draft as the draft approaches, about in a couple of hours, 8 p.m. Eastern time, East Coast. So check that out if you have not gotten the chance. There's timestamps so you can check out who your team got. We have a timestamp like 1 through 7, 8 through 16, 17 through 23, 24 through 32. So check out where your team is. Also, thank you to everybody tuning in via Twitter/Periscope, Facebook Live, and YouTube live stream. Also, check out the description below, my top 99 prospects in this NFL draft and my 3-round personal NFL mock draft that I did. I think you guys will enjoy it. So first, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Aaron Rodgers requesting a trade, not wanting to be in Green Bay anymore. Surprise, surprise, right? College football playoffs expansion, Tim Tebow back, and NFL draft rumors and talk. So first, let's start with this. Aaron Rodgers, Adam Schefter reported he is disgruntled. He does not want to be in Green Bay. I've heard guys like Trey Wingo say it doesn't matter if Green Bay trades him or not. He's not showing up. Also, you've heard other reporters who have stated that he refused to restructure the contract. And, you know, when there was the whole contract ordeal going on, Green Bay wanted him back. Aaron is the one that really did not want to come back. I do want to say this. Green Bay made a huge mistake, and I think the beginning of the end, and also there's been reports, this is more than just a contract, which I agree. The beginning of the end, I think, was when you draft a Jordan Love in the first round. In that draft, also, Jordan Love was a backup, did not play. He didn't even suit up. He was third string. He was bench warmer, scout team guy. And that was your first round pick. And then you go, and then this is the wild part. All their other picks, none of them suited up and played in the NFC Championship game. Their whole draft was irrelevant last year. And then Aaron's on the sidelines, and he's thinking, gosh. He's thinking, gosh. And then he sees, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They drafted Tristan Wirfs. He's a rookie. He's doing really good at tackle for Brady. Oh, they drafted an Antoine Whitfield Jr. He's really good at safety. You know, they have all these rookies that are contributing, yet no rookie on my team is even playing in this game. And then there's the whole Matt LaFleur, the decision to do a field goal instead of throwing it, instead of going for it on fourth down. I think that irritated Rodgers. I think there's been a whole lot of stuff that has irritated Rodgers. I think they pissed him off when they drafted Jordan Love. He was freaking pissed off. Like, this is literally like your Brad Pitt. They tell you you're going to play Batman, and then they come up to you like 3 months later as you're shooting the scenes. You're like, yo, man, hey, we're going to have some C-list actor replace you. And not only is he going to replace you, you have to help him. That's BS. Aaron Rodgers ain't going for that. Aaron Rodgers ain't no fool. So I think Green Bay has done a disservice. Here's some wild stats. Over the last 10 years, Green Bay has only had a top 10 defense twice. This year, they were 8th, I believe, 8th or 9th. And the Super Bowl year when he won, I believe it was 2010, the 2010-2011 season. Those are the only 2 years Aaron Rodgers has had a top 10 defense. Other than that, they've always been bottom of the top, closer to 30 than the 10, which has never been good. Yeah, it just has not been good. Also, if you look at it, they've never drafted an offensive weapon in the first round. Even an offensive tackle, offensive lineman in the first round. The only other pick they've drafted in the first round besides Aaron Rodgers, who was a quarterback, was Jordan Love, who was a quarterback. And then there was reports that they're going to get Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota, who I like. He's my he's my 5th wide receiver on my big board. But you want to know what? Too little, too late. Sometimes you never know what you had till you're about to lose it. Sometimes, you need to realize what Aaron represented, what he did. And I'll tell you this, Green Bay needs Aaron Rodgers a hell of a lot more than Aaron needs Green Bay. And also a report just came out that he's going to be hosting Jeopardy now. Aaron doesn't need to play football anymore. He has a ring. He has his MVPs. He has a Super Bowl MVP. His career is made. He doesn't need to keep playing. He's 37 freaking years old. His career is made. What is Green Bay doing? And then I just want to say this. And this was wild as I was looking this up and I was preparing for the show. The Hall of Famers Aaron Rodgers has played with. And I was looking at this, or the Hall of Fame nominees. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to count all the people that Aaron, over the course of his career, I'm just going to say that were Hall of Fame nominees or on the Hall of Fame ballot, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're Hall of Famers or guys that I think they're for surefire Hall of Famers. So Charles Woodson, Clay Matthews, Donald Driver, Nick Collins, who was a safety, and he played with Jeff Saturday for a year or two. When Jeff Saturday was older, he was with Indianapolis for most of his career, and Brett Favre. I'll even count Brett Favre. So over the course of his career, he was with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Hall of Famers. Now, not going to hate Tom Brady, a guy people consider the GOAT. You want to know how many Hall of Famers or guys that will be in the Hall of Fame or guys that are on the Hall of Fame ballot that are in consideration for the Hall of Fame that he's played with? Ty Law, Hall of Fame. Rodney Harrison, nominee. Randy Moss, first ballot Hall of Famer. Rob Gronkowski will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Adam Vinatieri will be a first ballot Hall. Excuse me, he might not be a first ballot because he's a kicker, but he will be a Hall of Famer. Richard Seymour, Hall of Fame nominee. Vince Wilfork, nominee. Asante Samuel, nominee. Darrelle Revis, they played for a couple years, was really good that 2014 year when they beat the Seattle Seahawks. Darrelle Revis will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Junior Seau, Hall of Famer. Teddy Bruschi, nominee. Willie McGinnis, nominee. Gerard Mayo, nominee. Logan Mankins, nominee. Brian Waters played 1 year. I'm even going to put that on here because I put Brett Favre for Aaron Rodgers, nominee. Wes Welker, nominee. Corey Dillon, nominee. Drew Bledsoe, named Drew Bledsoe, nominee. And also his coach, Bill Belichick, when he retires, he will be a Hall of Famer. Robert Kraft, I believe, will get into the Hall of Fame. And that's not counting anybody on Tampa Bay. I decided not to count on anybody on Tampa Bay. You know what? Maybe Levante David's a nominee. He's been really good for a long time. Mike Evans could be a nominee, could be a guy that's in consideration. Antonio Brown, look at the stats Antonio Brown has put up over the course of his career. We don't know what guys like Tristan Wirfs are going to develop too. Ndamukong Suh had a really good career. There's a couple guys that might end up in Canton on that Tampa Bay team, and I didn't even count any of them. So here's how many Hall of Famers Tom Brady played with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. He played with about 20. And that's being conservative. I'm not even counting people in Tampa. I'm not even counting those guys in Tampa. And I didn't even name Julian Edelman, a guy who I don't think is a Hall of Famer, but a lot of people are saying he's a Hall of Famer. And I didn't even count Aaron Hernandez, who if he didn't, do the crazy stuff or whatever, probably would have been a Hall of Famer. Tom Brady's had it all his whole career. Green Bay has never done that. How many times has Green Bay ever gone to make a trade for a big-time player like how the Patriots did with the guys like Aqib Talib? Aqib Talib's another guy I didn't mention. Aqib Talib, Darrelle Revis. And I didn't even mention Devin McCourty. Devin McCourty's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame as well. So is Stephon Gilmore. Oh, my God. Those are 2 more guys you can add to the list. So we're at like a 22. How many times did they trade for a Stephon Gilmore or try to sign a Stephon Gilmore? They did a Charles Woodson, right? That was once. How many other times has Green Bay done that? How many other times has Green Bay done that? When a top wide receiver's on the market, when Odell Beckham wanted out of New York, did Green Bay ever say, hey, we want Odell Beckham? When right now, Julio Jones, you ever hear Green Bay say, hey, we want Julio Jones? When Antonio Brown was going through his stuff, did Green Bay say, hey, we want Antonio Brown? We want Le'Veon Bell? They have never gone for free agents. They have never tried to, they try to do it through the draft. That's what they try to do. And you want to know what? Aaron Rodgers is pissed off because he looks at a guy like Brady, who people say is the GOAT. And I believe Aaron, in his mind as a competitor, probably thinks he's better than Brady. He probably thinks he's better than Brady. And he's like, look at the type of help this man has had. And then he sees it on TV during the Super Bowl, and he sees it in the NFC Championship game. And he's like, why should I be here? Why should I give my time to this organization when they haven't given their time to me? I'm the freaking franchise. I'm the freaking franchise. That you draft some dude from freaking Utah, Jordan Love, and expect me to help him. Okay. And obviously I'm the MVP of the league. I completely understand why Aaron is pissed off. So Aaron Rodgers reportedly, the San Francisco 49ers made a trade offer. And here's what the trade offer would have consisted of. The number 3 overall pick. Also, it looks like they would have had and other draft picks and Jimmy Garoppolo as well. And another player on the roster could be a Nick Bosa. I heard Nick Wright put that out there. Nick Bosa. I personally would not put any deal with Nick Bosa in there. That's just me. But a 3rd pick, multiple other picks, and Jimmy Garoppolo. So you have a quarterback and you give up another player. I don't know, like a DeForest Buckner. Actually, I wouldn't give up anybody on the D-line. But maybe one of their wide receivers, something like that. Obviously, Green Bay denied the trade, apparently. They're not looking at trading Aaron Rodgers. This is going to be a standoff. It's going to be really interesting. But right now, if I'm these teams in the league, if I'm San Francisco, I'm going to ask him again. He's a top 5 quarterback. He's top 3 quarterback in the league. He's the top 3 quarterback in the league. The top 3 quarterbacks in the league are Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, and Aaron Rodgers. Those top 3 quarterbacks in the league. So if you have a chance to get a guy like that can play at the level that an Aaron Rodgers can, you got to go for it. You just got to go for it. And it's irresponsible not to go for it. The New Orleans Saints, they're looking at moving into the top 10 for a corner. If that happens, it looks like they're probably going to look at a guy like Patrick Surtain, who's a Pro Bowl caliber corner who can go in right away and play. It looks like they're not going to go at quarterback. I think Sean Payton's already said they're happy with Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. But you never say never. Obviously things are subject to change. I'm sure Trevor Lawrence dropped all the way to 10. He traded up. I'm sure he'd draft Trevor Lawrence. But that's neither here nor there. But it looks like it's going to be cornerback or an impact defensive player. That's what I'm thinking if New Orleans decides to trade up in the draft. And college football expansion to 12 teams. Apparently the conference commissioners, that's what they want to do. This is supported by The Athletic. Here's what I'm going to say. And I talked to my good friend Ben Karen on, host of the Sports Father podcast. We talked last night about it a little bit. I'm not a fan of expansion. I think it doesn't do any good. I'm not really a fan of the college football playoffs itself. I think it's needless. I don't think it really matters in the grand scheme of things. The BCS, the bowl system was fine. You've always found the best 2 teams normally, right? You always find the best 2 teams normally. And you want to know what the year that everybody talks about where Alabama and LSU played each other in the championship game? You want to know what? Oklahoma State was 13. You think Oklahoma State was better than Alabama or LSU? I don't, but I guess you could have made that argument and maybe they deserved a chance. I believe they were undefeated or close. They only lost 1 game and they were really good. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And I'll just tell you this. We're seeing a lot of blowouts. The 1-4 matchups historically been a crap show. It's been awful. There's been very few games. The Clemson-Ohio State game a couple years ago was fabulous, but that's few and far between in terms of great games in these semifinals. Few and far. And also you want to keep the importance of the college football, the regular season, which is so important. You lose 1 game, you're out. You lose 2, you're for sure out, right? Like you use 3, see you later. Wouldn't want to be you. And I understand that this is more money. That's why they're doing it. Also, I'll say this. If you're going to put more games on these kids' schedules, the NCAA is going to have to pay them. Because right now they're playing about 15 games a year. You add a couple more playoff games, that's 16, 17. We're getting almost close to an NFL regular season, folks. If you're going to do that, you need to pay the athletes. And I'm not the biggest fan of paying all the athletes a salary, but if you're going to do that, you might as well. Because you're showing it's all about the money. They're supposed to be student athletes, but we're going to add a couple more games? Okay, but they're student athletes. You see the hypocrisy right there? Just what I think about the situation. Okay, and lastly, reportedly, Tim Tebow was working out for the Jacksonville Jaguars at tight end. Now, what's important to remember about this is who was Tim Tebow's coach at Florida? Urban Meyer. You can have Tim Tebow, big, strong, fairly athletic. I mean, if he can still play a little bit, maybe he can be your Wildcat quarterback. Why not? I always thought Tim Tebow, while he was not a great starting quarterback, he's good enough to make a 54-man roster, 55-man roster in the NFL. So I think this will be interesting. Also, Urban, Tim Tebow, they have a connection. They have respect for each other. Maybe this is Tebow coming back in the NFL. And also, he's great in the locker room. Like, if you're having a young team, you're trying to establish a culture, why wouldn't you want to have a dude like Tim Tebow on it? Who's done multiple things. He had success at the college football level. He's had relative success in 2 pro sports, Major League Baseball and the National Football League. I think guys will listen to him. He's a really nice, down-to-earth guy. He's obviously very biblical. I think he'd be great for a young locker room. I think he'd just be fabulous. And I think he's a big, strong guy. Let's see how athletic he still is. And we'll see what he can do. But I would be in favor of actually the Jaguars signing him, or at least trying him out preseason, see how he does. If he can make a roster spot, sign him away. And that's all we have for this edition of Outside the Shop. Share this however you're listening to. Also, if you have not checked out the mock draft, check it out. It's on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts. I have a 3-round mock draft below in the descriptions, and my top 99 players overall in this draft. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get an hour run in, take a shower. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to be right back here, and I'm going to talk about every pick of the first round for the NFL draft. Also, with my guy Kenny Sims, scouting expert for 247 Sports, we are going to do a recap of the first round and talk about some sneaky good players for the second and third round for day 2. Have a great day, everyone.